today? My name is David Gugino, and for today's book review, I have another financial book. And this financial book is actually a series on Netflix. You all might have heard about it. As soon as I explain to you the title, but this author I think is very good at living your rich life, is what he calls it. And your rich life is how you view your money. And what that basically means is his whole motto is spending money on things you love, but cutting costs mercilessly on things that you don't need or love, basically. But I do love how, he says, as a part of his rich life, or as a part of your rich life, it's whatever kind of money you have, if you can manage it well to where everything's paid, you should be able to buy what you want and when you want. And the book that I have for us today is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. He has a series on Netflix of the same title. And it is How to Get, I say it's the same title. It is host of Netflix's How to Get Rich. It is a very good book. It's a very good, and that's the thing, when I say views on money, people believe that you need to have $1 million to be happy. People believe that you need to have $100 million to buy whatever you want. People believe that no matter how hard you work and how hard you try, you can't become rich in this economy. So the reason why I say ways to view money is because your view is basically how you live. Your perspective is your happiness. And honestly, nothing about money. I make decent money at my current job that I have. I won't explain how much I make, but it's enough to pay my bills. It's enough to pay for editing software for this, pay for my nutrition stuff, for my workouts. And I do like what I do, which is very good. But honestly, in life, you have to ask yourself, what's going to make me happy? How much money is going to make me happy? So we're going to dive into the book here. And the first thing that we have here is probably something that this is a financial thing that I think is very true, but it is also very boring. And it actually says at the top here, boring but true. So listen to what he has to say here. Just listen to this. Although it's easy to plan on winning the lottery to get rich, the real way to do it is actually much simpler. Of America's millionaires, 2/3 are self-made, meaning their parents weren't rich. They collected their significant wealth through controlling their spending, regular investing, and in some cases, entrepreneurship. Not as sexy as winning the lottery, but much more realistic. According to a recent survey of millionaires done by U.S. Trust, 83% of the wealthy say their largest investment gains have come from smaller wins over time rather than taking big risks. Note, this doesn't mean cutting back on coffee. It means consistent, meaningful behaviors like disciplined saving and investing rather than massive speculative risks. Their wealth isn't measured by the amount they make each year, but by how much they've saved and invested over time. In other words, a project manager could earn $50,000 per year and have a higher net worth than a doctor earning $250,000 per year. If the project manager saves and invests more over time, American culture doesn't help us think about investing our money. We see celebrities and Instagram posts that show us the results of being rich, not how to get there. Not surprisingly, as this form of entertainment has become more popular, our attitudes have changed. The American Psychological Association reports that Americans today, compared to the 1950s, seem less happy even though we eat out twice as much and own times as many cars. We have so many more toys like big screens, TVs, smartphones, to a more satisfying life. Despite this preoccupation with material goods and a dizzying array of information resources, including 24/7 financial news channels, managing our money better, if anything, we're more anxious. Even more higher income earners don't handle their money well. About 1 in 4 people who make $100,000 plus a year still report living paycheck to paycheck, according to a SunTrust survey. So think about that. Making money is saving and investing over time. That's literally what it is. Now you might think we'll use a famous rapper who's worth $200 million. They did not just make an album and now they're worth $200 million. They start off making $100,000, maybe $500,000 a year through music. Then $1 million. Then through more contracts and more tours, maybe to $10 million. Then maybe to $20 million. And before you know it, they're at $100 million. and then through years of basically financial discipline, investing, and saving their money, they got to $200 million. So if you think about it, famous people have to live that way too. Now, yes, I used a rapper as an example. He's making music and starting a business, but listen to what he says here. One thing I've learned in the self-development business, we all have lots of reasons why we aren't doing something we should, like investing, flossing, or starting a business. No time, no money, not sure where to start, etc. Sometimes the truth is simpler. We just don't want to. Some people out there don't want to save and invest. Some people want to start a business and not take the money they've made to save a little bit of it and invest it in their business. They just want to buy stuff left and right and look rich. Now, something I always plan to live by is the key to be rich is to live like you're broke. But really think about that. Material goods, an array of information and resources. I'm thinking of guys who live paycheck to paycheck, making $100,000 a year. Think of how American culture doesn't help us think about investing our money. You see on Instagram all this rich stuff, but it doesn't show you how to get there. It doesn't tell you how to get there. But really think about it. We all seem less happy even though we eat out twice as much and own 2 times as many cars. We have so many more toys like big screen TVs, smartphones, and microwaves. But that isn't leading to a more satisfying life. So think about that. Now, the second part that I have to this book review is about dedication. Now, I believe in my last book review I talked about dedication, but listen to what he has to say here about dedication. Listen to this. Recently, however, I discovered I was wrong. Turns out, there's one universal shortcut to discovering someone's true character if they eat chicken wings like an immigrant. Because I don't understand or care about sports, last Super Bowl Sunday, I decided to go on a wing crawl. It's like a pub crawl, but with wings. I quickly realized that the most interesting part of eating wings with friends is seeing how much meat they leave on the bone. Some people leave half the chicken and move on to the next thing. I never speak to these people again. Then there are people who clean the bone so thoroughly, flawlessly, ridding it of every last shred of meat and marrow, that you can conclude only 2 things. They will be stellar successes in all aspects of life, and they must be from another country. You see, immigrants, like my parents, never leave shredded meat on a chicken wing, and we can all learn something from them. That kind of dedication is rare these days. We spend more on our cell phones than most people in other countries do on their mortgages. We buy shoes that cost more than our grandparents pay for their cars. Yet we don't really know how much these individual costs add up to. How many times have you opened your bills, winced, then shrugged and said, I guess I spent that much? How often do you feel guilty about buying something but then do it anyway? In this chapter, The Antidote to Unconscious Spending, we're going to gently create a new, simple way of spending. It's time to stop wondering where all your money goes each month. I'm going to help you redirect it to the places you choose, like investing, saving, and even spending more on the things you love, but less on the things you don't. Wait, before you run away thinking this is a chapter on creating a budget, hang on a second. This isn't about creating a fancy budget that you have to maintain every day for the rest of your life. I hate budgeting. Budgeting is the worst word in the history of the world. Create a budget is the sort of worthless advice that personal finance pundits feel good prescribing. Yet when real people read about making a budget, their eyes glaze over. Who wants to track their spending? The few people who actually try it find that their budgets completely fail after 2 days because tracking every penny is overwhelming. Amusingly, in a 2015 survey by Bankrate.com, 82% of Americans said they have a budget, which is complete nonsense. Just take a look at the people around you right now. Do you think 8 out of every 10 have a budget? I doubt 8 out of 10 could even name the planet we're on. That's pretty funny and kind of mean, but think about that. Budgeting. Budgeting is referred to as the worst word in history because people in our days, I said this in my last book review, people don't have discipline, and a quality we all need to have as humans is taking responsibility for our mistakes. Now, when it comes to having discipline, discipline in life is hard. It is hard. Working out is hard. I'm filming this. I'm going to have a pre-workout meal. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go get wiper blades for my car. It's true. But honestly, in life though, you got to ask yourself, do I really need this thing? Do I really want to take responsibility? And taking responsibility for anything. Your mail, when you get bills that haven't been paid. Your car. your home? Like, do you respect yourself to take care of your home and clean it? So then when you have people over, it can smell nice and look nice and everything. And even yourself, for example. If you have a group of friends that just simply make fun of you all the time, are you really going to let your respect not be like that? Are you really going to let them disrespect you like that all the time? Now, I understand in a friend group, when your friends make fun of you, usually they say it means they like you. They say that means they like you, and they probably do, but then there's a time where it's like you just need to lay low on certain things. But other than that, when it comes to bills, or even the chicken wing example, people not having enough dedication to eat all of the wings again. When you have a meal, don't waste your food. When you eat a meal, you be very thankful you have that meal, or better yet, you take it home with you. Because in life, you have to ask yourself, am I really going to spend all my money, or am I going to save it? Or, like the food example, when I make food or have the money to buy food, do I have to buy the amounts that I need, or can I just buy more and have financial issues? Now, why am I using the food example? Because when you go to a grocery store, I bet you a lot of the items people have in their grocery carts they don't need. Maybe some snack cakes. Oh, do you need these snack cakes? I mean, they're good. Well, you don't really need them. Why, instead of that, why don't you buy a cheaper way or just not have them at all? Think about that. Now, when it comes to eating out, people say eating out is expensive, and then people say buying groceries is expensive, but it can be both ways. But listen here, it all depends on how you budget and manage your money. Now, it's also like you said here, is thinking like, I guess I spent that much. How often do you feel guilty about buying something but then do it anyway? Take that out of your life. Don't just buy something and then feel guilty about it. Don't repeat the process. So I guess that's the point here. Don't repeat the process and budget your money. Final part we have to this book here is using the envelope system to target your big wins. Listen here to what that is. Listen to this. All of this conscious spending and optimizing sounds nice in theory, but how do you do it? I recommend the envelope system, in which you allocate money for certain categories like eating out, shopping, rent, and so on. Once you spend the money for that month, that's it. You can spend more. If it's really an emergency, you can dip into other envelopes, like your eating out envelope. But you'll have to cut back until you replenish that envelope. These envelopes can be figurative, like in YNAB or even Excel, or literally envelopes that you put cash in. System I found for keeping spending simple and sustainable. One of my friends, for example, has been carefully watching her spending for the last few months. When she started tracking it, she noticed that she was spending an unbelievable amount going out every week, so she came up with a clever solution to control her discretionary spending. She set up a separate bank account with a debit card. At the beginning of each month, she transfers, let's say, $200 into it. When she goes out, she spends that money, and when it's gone, it's gone. These are training rules. Build the habit first. Systematize it later. Tip. If you set up a debit account like this, tell your bank that you don't want them to allow you to spend more than you have in your account. Say if I have only $30 in my account and I want to try to charge $35 on my debit card, I don't want your system to let me. Some banks can handle this request. If you don't do this, you'll likely run up tons of overdraft fees. Whatever system you want to use to divvy up the money is fine. Just decide how much you want to spend in your major categories each month. Pick your big wins to start. Put the allotted money in each envelope. When the envelopes are empty, that's it for the month. You can transfer from one envelope to another, but that money is coming out of another category. So your total spending doesn't actually increase. Some of my nerdier friends even get more detailed with their systems. One of my readers created this label, and he goes like this. But he has a picture of this envelope system. Decide how much you want to spend in major categories each month. Put money in each envelope. There we go. You can transfer from one envelope to another, but when the envelopes are empty, that's it for the month. So you have a set amount of money each month for like groceries, eating out, and entertainment. And speaking of entertainment, I don't think I mentioned this. It is a proven fact in life humans have to have entertainment. Like, they have to. In order to live and be completely sane, you have to have entertainment. But when it says entertainment, listen real carefully here. When it comes to entertainment, entertainment as in going out to a bar. You can go to a bar with friends and have a few drinks. You don't have to get wasted, but have a few drinks and then there's a little bit of your entertainment for the week. Or you can rent a movie. That's your entertainment for the week. Because here the envelope has $60. If you rent a movie depending on what the movie is, if you rent a movie, multiple ones every week, that's like 5 or 6 movies that you'll have $60 to spend money on for the month. So instead of watching a movie every week, you watch one every week, then another, and then before you know it, you've watched a couple movies that month, and then now you just refill that envelope. Now the reason I say that is because that's also discipline as well. You do not have to watch a movie every night. Now nowadays with streaming services, you can have multiple choices, but you do not have to go to a bar every weekend. You don't have to spend tons of money on eating out every week. You don't have to do any of that. You just simply have to be disciplined and manage your money. You don't need millions of dollars. You do not need to run a multi-million-dollar business. You don't need to be a movie star, multi-platinum rapper. You don't need to be any of that. You just simply have to manage the money that you have now. So try the envelope system, and that is it for this book review. I'm eventually going to review all of my books, and I'm going to try to find more different details about life, but also notice that most of the details about life are from other books, from different authors, talking about different topics, but they're all fundamentals of life. They're how they got through life. They're how they got to where they are now. And even like some of these are all in the Bible. Some of these characteristics I mentioned and habits are all in the Bible as well. So, what I'm trying to say is they're fundamentals of life. So for those of you out there who think I'm crazy for saying some of these things, I have the evidence on these videos of why being a good person is important, why managing your money is important, why being disciplined is important, why dedication is hard nowadays, why responsibility is a quality we don't have. It is all evidence in these books. But I want to thank you all for watching this book review. This is I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It is a great book. It also has a 6-week program that works. So for those of you who are having financial problems, there is the Netflix series that you can watch. It is for free if you have Netflix. There's a 6-week program that he has. And these habits are really easy to understand and really easy to follow. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all read this book, and you all have a great day.